Hi, welcome to High Road to You. I wanted to share something with you that truly made a real big difference in my life navigating dishonesty and manipulation. And what I found was, and I'm not sure if it was a gift of discernment growing up in a very toxic environment where you'd walk in the room and you could just sense that something is staged. Like there's the environment just reeks of manipulation. And so I think that was a lot of time my grandfather, when he'd be home, and my grandmother and my aunt, my mom were involved in all these, criminal activities. It changed. The environment changed. I remember being in Mexico, spring break, and I didn't want to take the bus back home, back to Mexicali, and then, across the border into San Diego. And it was just brutal because on the trip down there, there was a lot of drinking, and I remember I ran to a store nearby, got a huge cooler of ice, and then things got out of control, and the ice got dumped over, and that was our water source. But it was a setup because they were feeding us, salty hot dogs and literally laughing at the gringos, and because we, were throwing up out the window, the bathroom stunk like crazy, and they had plenty of water, and they knew exactly what they were doing. They interrogated us at one place. We had stopped at this place to eat, and it was extremely expensive. And ultimately, when we got there, I knew I wasn't going to get back on the bus to head back. So it's staged in that regard. And I remember too that bus went back, and it was an accident, huge fatality, and I was so thankful that I got on a plane, and I borrowed money from somebody that was with us, and they advanced their credit card, and I was happy to pay the cost. Ultimately, being there a couple days after spring break had ended, this guy was going around, and he was getting kickbacks from all the hotels because he was the promoter, putting flyers at campuses all over California, I suppose. Anyway, it was one of those things where all the restaurants, the menus changed overnight, for the local menu experience. And once the spring break, herd left, and so when you see that and how that plays out, you kind of become more and more aware of it. You acquire, I guess, the gift of discernment is what I would define it as. And so as I navigate my wife and my life and my family and my kids and all these other things, I would notice body language in such a way where I knew I wasn't getting all the information. It was like, it's not what's said is what's not said. It's not what's presented, what's not presented. It's not what is disclosed. It's what is not disclosed. And like I say, if my grandmother and my aunt say, "Hey, we're going to go shopping," with my grandfather, he'd say, "Oh, that's great," and then what they left out is lifting, shoplifting. So that's what I'm talking about. And when you sense that, you can't truly make a decision. You can't be put on the spot. That's the other thing too, is you're like, "Hey, we're going to do this now." All the plans are made, and they're just kind of breaking it on you. That's an indicator as well. For me, it's like, okay, what is really going on? And as you dive deeper into that, and then there is drama, right? And then you go down the rabbit hole. Where there's rabbit trails, there's rabbit holes. And so the hard part about that is you can't really put your finger on exactly what is going on and what you're agreeing to. And that's where you have to kind of step back and go, I gotta get somebody. I have to just step back a minute and just let me, regroup. And you might have to make some phone calls. It's not like you show your hand and say, I know something's going on. That's not what you do. What you have to do is step back and, kind of assess. And if you really have this deep feeling of like something's not right, you say, I'm really not on board. I don't agree, and I don't think it's a good idea. And that way you get yourself out of the boat, right? You can see or sense that there's a storm on the horizon. There's white caps, there's cloud formation, there's something's not right, and then you have to basically just listen to your gut. And I wish I had done that more. I wish I had not gotten upset trying to figure out, what was really happening, what the real situation was. So, with that, you all have to navigate those things, as they come. And I found that just stepping away from it, make some phone calls, doing a little digging, doing a little research, taking that time and not being put under pressure like, hey, this opportunity is only be available now. And if you're in, you're in. And that's I don't do relationship that way. I don't do business that way. And I think it's wise to kind of take your time, step back, and really assess and understand everything that's involved in what's going on. So with that, I hope this finds you well.